coming at you live from the shithouse. It is me on the toilet. Take a look at that slammer that I'm sitting on. I am inside of the bathroom currently because I have lent out all the lights, and I've always wanted to just do a podcast on the toilet because that's just kind of where we sit and think, and we want to be thoughtful today. That's what I want to do today because it feels bad to lie. I fucking hate it because, okay, so I went and I bought some boxing gloves for Jovy and I because I wanted us to be able to fight, and so did Jovy. And also I need them for, there's this cool little stunt group in town that I want to get to. And you got to bring your own gloves. You could rent some if you wanted to, but I don't want to be the guy who just shows up and is like, hey guys, I didn't bring any of my stuff. I'm unprepared, but I want to be able to roll with you guys. And then they'll be like, hey, here's the sweatiest gloves possible. And don't worry, you're a beginner. It's cool. It's fun. It's free. But one day you're going to have to bring your own gloves. So I figured I would just be ahead of the curve and just bring my own. So I bought some cool little hand wraps, got a little mouth guard because, what if things get a little bit heated between Coach and I? He wants to give me a kiss. And I'm like, well, okay, so I just got to make sure I got my mouth guarded. No, just kidding. Coach is not going to be giving me a kiss. Shouldn't happen. But I did bring a mouth guard just in case I wanted to do some sparring with some friends of mine. And I bought all of it from this cool, underground martial arts supply place. It was in the basement of this of this house that was just in the south of Vancouver. And I was expecting to roll up and it would be I don't know, a sport check or or an equivalent for whatever exists in your country. But this place was literally just a basement full of martial arts goods and weapons and swords. I had to call the person who owned the place, and they open it just for purchases, and it's not a thing that's just open all the time. And so you call the person, and then you meet them out back behind the place, and then they take you into this weapon dungeon. There's practice dummy things along the walls, and I don't even know how to describe it, but it's a wood totem pole, but it's got rotating parts with arms that stick out, and I guess you hit them and they spin, and you hit them the other way, and it's three-way tetherball. You're playing tetherball while having a three-way, and I think that would be the perfect way to have sex if you enjoy ropes, balls, and sex, huh? But anyway, so I bought the goods from there, and I got a dope 30% off little deal, and then I came back. And then I don't know what the fuck came over me, but I decided to just charge Jovy the original price. I don't know. I guess I just wanted extra money, which is weird because I didn't need it. So where does that greed come from? Cuz you already have enough and then you just want more. And there was no easily accessible or easily discernible ground where this came from. Maybe tiniest possibility that it could have been just he didn't come with me, and I was oh shit, I wish he would have come with me. But that wouldn't teach him a lesson or anything. I guess that's not really. There's nothing really from that, and so I felt really gross about it already. I was driving around town. And then thinking about that, damn, man, what the fuck? And then I had forgotten about it because I went to go and watch the UFC fight with a couple friends of mine at this dope-ass Irish bar. And that was really fun because they also had just a ton of people hanging out there. They were serving Guinness. And they had this interesting little Guinness blend called Black on Black. And they would put blackcurrant sauce in with the Guinness, so you get a saucy Guinness, and it tasted just like a sweet, thick drink. You were drinking a loaf of bread with because Guinness already feels like that. Guinness already feels like you have taken just a loaf of bread and you're just downing different loaves of bread all the time. But then with this, it was you're downing a cake. And that was delicious. But yeah, I had forgotten about it momentarily. And then I came back home this morning And then Jovy had found some like nicer, cheaper boxing gloves online, and then asked to see the receipt. And of course, because I bought them from this like sketchy ass underground place, I only used cash. And then already I had started thinking, okay, mister, like, how deep does this go? Like, are you just going to like keep this up? You're just going to like not tell him? Like, what's going on? And as the conversation went on, I was like, I cannot just keep this up. I can't, like, I had to admit it to him. And then, oh, now I feel like this. But that's what you get. That's what you get for like lying like that, I guess. And like breaking trust, because you don't do that to a friend, especially a close friend. And there was no, like, what did I get from that? An extra $30 or something? Like, what the fuck? What was the gain? So now here I am, sitting dejected. I'm in the bathroom. I have only one light currently. But I've always wanted to do like a bathroom podcast, so it's kind of cool to just be here now. And I think this is like a good, nice, thoughtful setting for this, where we can both just like, maybe you're on the toilet too, so this is like a nice little bonding moment for us. You're like, damn, like I watch all of these YouTube videos and they're in cool office settings, or they have a cool podcast studio, but I can't connect to it because I am pooping. But you know, together, you and I, we can really like connect at this time. So now we just kind of go down memory lane of what has happened that you have been shitty and wished that you didn't do. And I guess everybody goes through little things like that, or you don't because you're a psychopath. But it even happens to like good people, I guess, because I consider myself to be a pretty good person, or at least I thought so, because I try and operate from a place of truth. And then every once in a while, a little thing like that will happen where it's very out of character, and you're like, where did that come from? And it's just, sometimes you just don't think things through, because in the moment, I guess you're just like, yeah, nice, like an extra $30. But then at the end of the day, what's really happening is you're just like, you're breaking trust, which is something that takes a long time to build up. You know, it takes a lot of experiences and mutual hardship and just going through shit together and growing together to gain that. And then when you do things like that, it just works against all of the trust that you have learned to create. And now maybe he doesn't feel so bad about it, but like, here I am sitting on this toilet, and like, I think I've like fucked up my whole day, or like maybe my whole week, because what the fuck? but that's what happens when you do stuff like that. And sure, you could think like, don't beat yourself up for it, but like, I think it's also good to experience like very, very harsh, not like long-term negativity, but like harsh self-criticism from doing stuff like that, because you build up some kind of an association with doing stuff like that. Like, if you don't build up negative feelings towards doing bad things, then you're just going to keep doing bad things. And now it hasn't been something like, I haven't done things like that a lot, and I can't even think of another like, I'm a bad person type moment currently. Like, nothing's really coming to mind, but it's just, I guess it's just, that was like a momentary like, hey, make sure to be a good person check, because sometimes you forget like how important it is to have integrity, I guess. Like, sometimes you just have a little lapse in focus and you don't think the consequences through. You don't think things through, man. You're just a young guy. You're just gonna take everything. And to help myself deal with the feelings from that, especially when I experience extreme negative emotion, it's like I want to paint it and I want to like draw it. So I did a little drawing of a guy with a dollar bill and his big long greedy fingers and his big long skinny arms, and he's got like very like schemy eyebrows. He's got a pig nose because, you know, pig, greed, I guess. Like, that is weird that pigs have become just a symbol of greed, because also a dog could be a symbol of greed, because I think you call pigs greedy because they never like stop eating, but also dogs just never stop eating. So what the fuck? Really? Like, what are we doing with these dedications? Like, I guess dogs are just like a sacred protected class, but then, oh, what happened to the pigs? They're cute, right? But they're also greedy? Huh? What the fuck? But so I drew this guy with a pig nose, and he's got like eyes, and then he's got like his hands are red, like he's red-handed, and then he's got like these big long skinny limbs and no penis or no anything like that, and he's climbing up the stairs of deceit. And I put a little title above his head that says greedy pig, and then yeah, he is climbing up the stairs of deceit, and then I put some like sludge at the top of the stairs, and I called it mystery sludge. And if you step on the sludge, you fall back down the stairs of deceit, and then you just keep on climbing up. Because I guess this person, we're just gonna take this real deep. But oh, did I clap sync? Gosh damn it! Here's a clap, right there. Another clap. I'll find the clap sync eventually. But yeah, so the idea with the stairs of deceit and the mystery sludge is like if he steps on the mystery sludge, he falls down the stairs, and then because he fell down the stairs with his money, I don't think the money is part of the equation, but because he fell down the stairs, he's gonna have to go back up the stairs to prove himself. But really, that's like you don't even have to be on the stairs of deceit, but the stairs just keep escalating, and I'm sure like if you went further up the stairs of deceit, there would be like other traps. And eventually just like you're stepping on like swords that go through your feet, but you just keep walking up them because like you have traveled that path. Maybe that's not how that works, but that was just my idea. And I guess it's also like it's good to experience negative emotions like that, because that is what leads me to express myself the hardest. Like, I don't always feel a need to draw or a need to paint, but when moments like those come up, it's like the only way that I can deal with those feelings, even a little bit, is like I have to like draw it. And it's always me in some kind of a situation. Like, sure, if you wanted to, you could look at that drawing and project your own feelings on it, and you could think like, it could be like some kind of an ACAB drawing where it's like, you know, the greedy pig is a cop, and he's taking money, and he has money that he doesn't need. You could also look at it that way. But for me, what that drawing was just me being greedy for no reason, taking that money, which the dollar amount was 666, which is kind of funny. Like it's all pretty on the nose. I don't know, I don't even think it takes any kind of it doesn't take too much thought, I guess. But yeah, that's how I drew that. And I don't know if I ever ended up talking about other drawings that I've had, but I think my best art has always just been from me having to deal with whatever extreme negative emotion I'm feeling from a situation, whether that's like accidentally letting a friend's secret go like right in front of him because I'm forgetful and I was careless in a moment, which was the face melting guy. I don't know if I've ever explained it before, but I made a painting out of that, and then that became a t-shirt. I'll probably turn the greedy pig into a t-shirt because that sounds kind of fun. But then there's other situations where like I was accompanying my mom at the hospital, and then the surgeon people let me know that if there's any complications, I would be the one that had to decide like whether she lived or died. And I was like, oh my God. And then I painted that moment. But it really does seem that my best or most interesting art, which greedy pig may not be that for you, but I thought it was a pretty good expression, it tends to come from some kind of pain or negative emotion. Because I think that when I'm in a really good emotional place, I'm creating other stuff. You know, I could paint something nice, something beautiful, but it doesn't seem to have the same kind of driving force. Like it's like you're building a spaceship, but you didn't give it any rocket boosters or something like that. But having some kind of emotion behind something that you've made gives it movement. But it's kind of an indiscernible movement quality. Like, it's not like you can see the rocket boosters on the spaceship. It's like some invisible rocket booster technology that just moves it forward. And because we're human beings, we just don't understand. But, you know, if we were aliens from planet Xenor, like, we would probably really, really understand that shit. And it is kind of nice to have gone through a shitty emotion, because this is something that I could access later on, especially as an actor, because, you know, you're supposed to figure out how to feel the correct way in a scene. Like if you're acting in a movie and the character is supposed to be sad, you can't just sit and put on sad. You can't just give the physical actions and just sit there and boo-hoo, boo-hoo, because like if you see a kid pretend to cry, you know there's nothing behind it. You know it's empty, and you're just gonna let that kid just cry because you know they're doing it for no reason. They're just imitating the sounds, and then maybe they can convince themselves to get the tears going. But still, it's like you see that the kid is just going through the motions. But when a kid's really crying and there's really some kind of emotional distress or some kind of fuel behind it, we recognize that as human beings, and so that kind of that analyzation kind of carries over to acting. Like you can tell when someone's kind of fake crying, or if someone's a good enough fake crier, you can't. But yeah, we understand when there's not proper emotional stimulus behind some kind of a physical action. And so I guess if there is anything to be gained from this situation, one, it would be like, don't lie to your friends. But then the other thing would be like, here is some kind of emotional stimulus I can use if a character ever needs to feel horrible about themselves. Because I think it's hard to think of a time when you felt horrible about yourself if there's been no moments like that in recent memory, unless there's something imprinted in your brain. But I think before this moment happened, if I read that in a script, I would probably play that entirely different. But now if I encountered that in a scene and I needed some kind of emotional drive, I could plant an emotional seed by recalling that moment. It's something called sense memory. That's an acting technique that I've been reading about. There's this really cool acting book that I've been reading called A Challenge to the Actor by Uta Hagen. And so that's been my kind of acting research recently. And yeah, sense memory is a part of acting. Some people use it, some people don't. But it's not actually a technique that you use in the moment, like when the camera's rolling or, if you're up on stage doing a play, but it's something that you do in the preparation of a scene. You would go into that scene having prepared some kind of emotional stimulus. So, for example, if I needed to feel poorly about myself in a scene, in the homework portion of working on that scene, while I'm at home or if I'm at a coffee shop working on that or something, I would get myself into that scene, believe the circumstances, try and visualize everything that's going on, acknowledge the relationship between myself and the other characters and everything like that. Set the scene for myself emotionally and physically. And then I would think about the feelings that I felt from just finally admitting that I was in too deep with this boxing glove situation. And then I could start to feel poorly about myself. And then that would put me in the correct place for the scene while I'm doing the homework. And you practice that over and over and over again. And then hopefully that emotional feeling kind of transfers from that memory into the scene. And then you don't have to think about the memory anymore. You're just in the appropriate emotional place in the scene. So I guess I could see that benefiting me somehow. And you don't just recall the scene in your head, like you don't just remember it. You're supposed to like put yourself there sense-wise. And that's why it's called sense memory. Like you pick a sense, whatever's strongest for you. The book that I'm reading recommends using a visual sense, but some people recommend smell. But there's not always a smell associated with the situation unless like you really need to cry for a scene, and then like previously in your life, like your brother has like trapped you under a blanket and just farted on you, and then you just like remember the scent of the fart, and every time you smell the fart you get triggered and then you just start crying. Every time someone farts you start crying. Oh no. But yeah, basically you just use your own, this is the modern terminology for like trigger. You would use your own emotional triggers to set yourself up correctly emotionally for a scene. So I guess that's one way that I could benefit from it. But I also wanted to like reflect on like other times that I've been shitty in my life. Like I can't really think of anything recently, which maybe there has been, but like I haven't been necessarily aware of. But and it's even hard to think of like other incidents in my life where that has happened where I am the shitty guy. But what comes to mind is one like a long time ago when I was in like sixth grade, back when like empathy wasn't a thing, or like when you're a kid, like you're just kind of learning empathy, and like you're learning to treat others how you want to be treated, or at least like that is a process that you're going through, maybe, hopefully, unless you're just like going to become a trained killer, where then you probably don't need empathy, unless you need empathy to like know where the enemy's hiding. But like there are things that you do when you're like even a young kid, where you just like you're not taking other people's feelings into account, and you're just doing something because it's funny between you and your friends. Like I remember one time, I was walking home from my sixth grade elementary school, which was like up the hill from me. We had to walk up the hill to get to elementary school, but yes, we did. But I remember this moment where I would walk the same way home with my friends each day, and then funny shit would just happen, and we'd be feeling goofy because we were just a bunch of goofy guys. Like I'm a goofy person mostly, except for right now because because I did this to myself. But I was goofy dude back then too, and I remember there was this girl who was kind of like, she was like one of the more low-key girls. She wasn't the best looking or the brightest or anything, and she had acne and things like that. No one really hung out with her, and she would act a little bit strange, but nothing was really, no kind of negative behavior towards her was like justified or anything. But I remember we were walking home and we saw her, and then my friend turns to me and is like, yo, let's say like her name was Jade. Let's say like ugly Jade, and then hide behind the bushes and then see what happens. And so we did that. Like we got within earshot, and then we both just yelled ugly Jade, and then just like hid behind the bushes, and like we didn't even get a reaction, but we were just like thrilled on it in the moment. And now thinking about it, there's like nothing funny about it. But when you're a kid, you're just like a goofball, and sometimes humor is just being shitty. Or sometimes you're just shitty for no reason. You're just like instinctually shitty. Like you ever watch like how other puppies treat each other? Like sometimes they just like step on each other for like no reason. Or like they're on their way to the there's like 8 puppies, and then they're on the way to the food bowl, and they just like knock each other over and stuff, but it's fine because they're puppies. But like I also remember like being at some like dirt bike jumps with a bunch of friends of mine, and then my friend's brother came to just like hang out, and then I just like pushed him off of the jump. And it was like, it wasn't just like a dirt jump. There's like rocks and stuff too, but like why the fuck does that happen? Why the fuck do we just like do stuff like that without thinking? But I think that is the answer. It's like the answer is in the question. Like we just don't think things through entirely, and you get caught up in the momentum of a moment, because of course reflecting posthumously on anything, like it's easy to be harder on yourself and to be like, oh, why didn't I think that through? And you're so stupid for inflicting some kind of suffering on other people or yourself. But you're just caught up in the momentum of whatever's happening, and then things are moving quickly, and for whatever reason you just decide not to think things through, and then shitty shit happens. And I can't honestly think of other moments. Like I'm trying to think of a time where a lie went too far, and then I got caught for it, or something. Like I guess I used to skateboard to my junior high school, and I would tell my mom that I would wear my helmet because my mom's such a safety freak. Like she even like she had a hard time accepting that I did parkour for the longest time. And then like, so it must have been really tough for her when I was like skateboarding when I was like in junior high, like 7th to 9th grade. But I used to leave the house with my school stuff and my skateboard, my helmet. And then right in front of the house, I would just like stash my helmet under the tree and then go skateboard to school without it. But the thing is, my mom would drive along the same roads to get to work. So one time she caught me on the way without my helmet, and she took my skateboard away, and I was so upset, dude. She took it away for a while. Eventually I got it back. But I like showed up to school without my skateboard, and I was like crying. And I was like, my mom took my skateboard away. And my music teacher was like, okay, well, we're going to be playing C flat now. And I was like, I can't play C flat because I've got no skateboard. I can't do anything. He's like, okay, Josh, but what's coming up right now is we need to be doing music. It's music class, so just stop crying. And then I didn't. And then found out later on that teacher didn't even like skateboarding because I got in trouble for having a skateboard backpack, which didn't know that that was a thing, that you could just like get in trouble for having a skateboard on your back inside the school. Actually, I got so pissed about it, I started a petition, like, allow skateboards in school. And I got like 300 people in the school to sign this petition. And then I think I just didn't hand it in. I don't know if the teachers would have accepted it or anything, but there was like an overwhelming amount of kids who just like signed off on this thing because I just like leveraged my friendship and popularity to be like, yo, do you guys think that like it's really stupid that like we're not allowed to have skateboards in the school? Like, we're not allowed to chew gum, we're not allowed to have hats, and we can't skateboard? How is anyone expected to be cool? And so everyone wants to be cool when they're in junior high, so of course they want to like sign off on a petition. There's not going to be people who are like, I don't think that skateboards are actually the best idea for being in school because we are young, and then if we hurt our bones, we can just recover fast. And oh, that makes sense to me now. Okay, I'll sign it. I don't think it got any pushback, actually. I don't think there was like a single person that was like, I don't want to sign this. I've been thinking a lot about skateboarding just because how did I even get back into it? I guess I used to watch skateboarding videos for inspiration before going and training parkour. And then I dated this girl for a little bit a few months ago, and she was into skater dudes, and I've always been pretty confident on a skateboard, but I've always thought like I wanted to get back into it, and I thought that if I got to the end of my life without getting, even just a little bit like dope at skateboarding, I would be like, damn, like I should have done that. I should have done some of that with my time. So I got all the motivation I needed from this girl I was dating. It didn't last very long, but the skateboarding persisted, and I bought a bed frame because she freaked out. She's like, "Ew, you're sleeping on the floor," and then I bought a bed frame, and then the bed frame arrived before, like, or like by the time the bed frame arrived, she wasn't even around anymore. But now I have a bed frame, so joke's on her. But yeah, so I'm skateboarding now, and that's the dopest shit, because when I'm skateboarding, I kind of find myself in a constant flow state and kind of like a don't give a fuck mindset. Like I it's really easy for me to just like really give a fuck about hurting myself or giving personal space to people in public and stuff, especially during COVID. But like with skateboarding, it's just like go anywhere, do anything, just like skate close to people because we're outside and we're sharing this setting. And like when I'm skating, I don't know how the fuck it happens, but I just like feel steezy and flowy, and it just puts me in the correct mindset. And it's especially useful if I skateboard to a training session. That's like a really powerful thing, because I put myself in that mindset, and then I'm able to like cross-reference that and use it for parkour, which is like super powerful, because parkour is pretty dangerous, and especially I'm especially cognizant of it these days because my body is my instrument for doing stunts, for being an actor, for anything. Like I guess I could be broken and do stand-up, but being an actor has made me more cautious as a parkour athlete, I think. And it's made me a little bit more reluctant to progress because I feel like there's a certain level where the risk of injury gets like pretty high, especially if you're like really pushing yourself. And skateboarding is kind of helping me disregard that a little bit. And I think that's kind of fun. Like I think that there is an element of necessary danger that makes parkour the really fun, expressive, challenging thing that it should be, as opposed to, you doing things you've done a million times, not even really progressing yourself, and you're just like playing it safe. Because, more or less, like parkour is kind of playing it safe, but, kind of testing the boundaries. And I think skateboarding is helping me get there. And it's fun to like watch skateboarding online now because there's so many different skateboarding resources and stuff. Like Skateline, oh my fucking god, I think that parkour needs something like that, where like it's kind of like Giles Compiles or whatever. It's like a weekly clip roundup show, or like I will talk about some crazy bail that's happened or some new video part that came out. And he's just like, he's dope with it. He's really energetic and he's really into it. And he's like an experienced skater himself. Like he can hit like some dope ass grinds and stuff. So he's qualified to talk about it. And I think that would be dope if parkour had a show like that, where it's like not necessarily like a very composed host, but maybe someone who's a little bit more like off the rails, and someone who's a little bit more like excited, like visibly excited about what's going on in the parkour world. When did that? Oh no. Not my day, huh? So I don't know where the fuck the camera died. Like I didn't even see it like flash at me or anything like that. So I guess there was an interesting photo of, maybe I'll just put like a picture of the art up for a little bit, or thumbs up, you know, because everything's gonna be okay. So I don't know if you guys had noticed over the last 2 episodes, but like I was like pretty high and pretty tired for both of them, and I made both of the episodes really short because I was so fucking exhausted from being a personal assistant on this TV show that's shooting in town. So I've never desired to be a PA before, PA, personal assistant. If you don't know, if you couldn't like put 2 and 2 together, but one of my acting friends passed on a gig to be a personal assistant, which is dope because you're making bank, which was like really enticing for me. But part of that is you are working long ass days, and that would be fine if I was like doing things, but I wasn't doing anything. So this film set was like up in the mountains, and they stationed us at the entrance to this area that they were shooting at. And it was beautiful scenery and everything, but there was just like fuck all to do. And I brought things to entertain me, like books and stuff. And I actually got stuck with a really interesting group of other people. Like there was 4 of us total, 3 PAs and then 1 COVID cop, because that's how film be now these days. They got to have people on set just to make sure everyone's obeying the COVID rules, which is like kind of dope, because if one person gets COVID, then the whole film set can shut down. And then, you know, then a bunch of people are stuck without work. But I was just like chilling up in the mountains, and I got to do that for like 8 days and make bank. And it was like one big struggle because you're just out there subject to the weather, or subjected to the weather, I guess you would say, for hours and hours and hours at a time. You'd be useful for maybe one task that day, like changing a garbage bin or setting up tables or helping people park, which was really fun. Like I did that for like 2 hours on their shooting days, but it was just a lot of empty space. And it was a struggle in the sense that like I was just so bored, and then lacking sleep, because you know, they would have me on for 17 hours or 15 hours, and then they'd want you back at like 6 a.m. the next day. And there was literally not enough time to like come home, get a full 8 hours of sleep, and then go out again. So it's like you are gradually deteriorating in mental quality. And then, you know, as your mental quality deteriorates, you're more down to just like eat shitty food. Like, when you're on set, they've got nice food with catering and stuff, but that's only on the shoot days. I was on a prep and wrap squad, which meant that like we were the only people out there other than like the construction and like greenery departments and stuff for long periods of time. So we could just like go out and get food and whatever. And so especially when you're tired, you're more down to just like keep on shitting on your body, especially when your body's in a shitty spot. So we'd just like get McDonald's, and then like I would not stretch, and then I'd be sleep deprived, and then, you know, I would drink like a bajillion coffees, and then by the end of it all, I just felt so ragged. And I was like, holy shit, how do people do this? And the answer is you have a degree of self-discipline and eat good food, and only drink caffeine when you desperately need it, which there were times when I did, because I would literally be like falling asleep while standing sometimes. But that was like a really fun little challenge. Like, it's not something that I want to do full time. It's something that I would consider doing maybe once a month or a few times a year. But not something I would want to do full time because it was just like so much stress on my body. And then, like I I live in Vancouver because I want to pursue acting, and living in Vancouver is kind of expensive. Like everything's pretty expensive, so you really have to hustle. But there's like a weird balance because I'm in Vancouver to pursue acting, and so I'll get a job so I can stay in Vancouver to pursue acting. But sometimes the trade-off is a little bit too much. Like with the PA work, I was a little bit too tired, and I was able to smash out some auditions when they would come in. But there was one day where I was just like so tired and stupid that when an audition did come in, I misread the deadline for it and ended up missing the submission time. So that was a little bit of a reality check. Like, hey, yo, is this worth it? Like, if you're gonna get as tired and stupid as you have been, then maybe it's not worth it because you literally missed out on an audition, and that's that is the reason why you are doing all of this. Like that is the core of like that is the core reason why you are pursuing and doing all this and putting yourself through that. So that was something for consideration. And I think maybe that's why you don't see actors do that as much, but there are some actors who are kind of into it. I don't know. Some people are just machines, dude, and they can just like do shit like that. And maybe I will be able to make it work out the next time that happens. Because maybe I'll be more occupied, like my mind will be working quicker, and I will eat better food and maybe get better sleep next time. I'm optimistic for it, but I'm not trying to get back into it too quickly here because now I can chill a little bit. But what was I? Oh shit, what was I gonna say? Yee! I don't know. Oh, and then I guess the last thing I could say is I bought a keyboard, so I'm really excited to get back into making music. But I guess today has just been a big life update as opposed to like a really fun little improvisational performance. But thanks for joining me today. And yeah, I'm glad that I can always do this show, like no matter what. Like, sure, maybe I'm not feeling like goofy guy. Maybe I did say some funny things. Maybe I didn't. But because this show is entirely self-led, like it gets to just be whatever I want it to be. And today I don't feel like being funny because I did this thing to myself, and maybe next week will be better. And we can only hope for that. And there will be a next week because this is something that I dedicate my time to and I want to keep doing. So special thanks to Kevin Thompson and Wes, my fucking homies who watch this shit. Thank you. And yeah, tell your friends, subscribe, and make sure to not step on the mystery sludge. Don't be a greedy pig. Bye now.